JD has motion, but this is the kind of shit that cracks me up.
I think for Tennessee, if you win this recruitment, it is a signal fire to the rest of college football as to what is currently going on in Knoxville in terms of the direction you're trending.
First of all, great soundbite and drop, but also how many of these signal fires is Tennessee gonna have? Wasn't David Sanders a signal fire? You beat Ohio State for him. Wasn't Nico a signal fire? This is kind of what gets lost in all this. Awesome, winning the recruit matters. But you know what else matters? Being able to develop the recruit, because winning these battles isn't enough to be a signal fire. I mean, would you say that Nebraska winning Raiola was a signal fire? I mean, we see this all the time. They landed the Matthews kid, I think. They landed David Sanders, they land Nico. One thing about Tennessee is they will win some battles. Now, their recruiting class now is not reflective of that, but winning the battles isn't the signal fire. The signal fire is developing and being able to deliver on development promises as well as the money promises. That is the quote unquote signal fire that honestly they haven't really had. And if you go to this, and I think this is something that every college football fan should at least give a little bit of a look to. Now, I don't think that draft picks are the number one thing and regarding who is good at what, but I do think it's a good look at development. And this chart did a really good job. It's a relationship between roster talent and players getting drafted in the NIL era. And this is where I think sometimes you get lost in things. And I wish I would have had this chart when someone brought it to me. Well, Florida, they're super talented too. They have the same amount of draft picks as Indiana. Yeah, but it's think about the guys from each place they're getting drafted, right? And this, I think, is fascinating. Recruit well. This is the red area. This section up here, recruit well, struggle to get players drafted. This is what you call the non-development zone. There is Florida. Just outside of it, kind of maybe bleeding into a little bit, there's Notre Dame maybe bleeding into it. There's Clemson deep in it, OU deep in it, USC deep in it, South Carolina, Ole Miss right there. This is the area that you kind of want to avoid. A&M, even Texas and Oregon are a little closer to that zone than I would like. What I think is what is good is anything over by this line is what you call the good development spots, right? And obviously, this trend is since 2021, so it will continue to kind of make itself more clear the longer the NIL era gets. But BYU, Illinois, Wake Forest, Iowa, Pitt, Maryland, teams kind of hovering in that. And then you see the gold standard is Georgia. Obviously Georgia's gotten a lot of guys drafted. And the thing that's held Georgia back hasn't been the amount of draftable players they've had. It really hasn't been development. The thing that's held Georgia back is one position and one coordinator, that spot being quarterback and that position being Mike Bobo's position as well. So when you hear stuff like this,
I think for Tennessee, if you win this recruitment, it is a signal fire to the rest of college football as to what is currently going on in Knoxville in terms of the direction you're trending.
People are literally begging and trying to speak into existence Tennessee being back, and it's not happening. In fact, it has not looked good at all since Alex Golesh left. And there, I don't know if you can see it, but there is that Tennessee T right there. And what does this say? Recruit well, struggle to get players drafted. That is the bad development era. Also, shout out Michigan because they have a little green circle around them too, for those who care about that kind of thing. But yeah, I just wanted to do that.
Is there something about that body?
Tennessee is a case of media trying to force a team back, and it's dog, they're never coming back. Stop using these one-off recruits. It's like signal fire, big dog. If anything, Tennessee is closer to the boy who cried wolf. Tom Brady talked about receiver play, and this is the kind of thing where I'm not going to offer too much commentary on because who gives a fuck about Chris Drew's commentary when it's Tom Brady? But this is stuff like this I take and I try to apply it to how I evaluate, sports. Just generally speaking, people ask me, what do you listen to? Who do you listen to? How do you learn? I watch all of Zach's breakdowns. I listen to a ton, and I try to listen to a lot of quarterbacks because I have a sickness where the Chris Drew quarterback doesn't align with what the great quarterbacks are.
Body type? The like short, sawed-off white guy that's just, those feet are just moving quicker. We're going to get an option route on a guy in the slot, and they're not going to be able to redirect as quick as this guy. Like,
you know what? In some ways, Jay, it was like, because, okay, our team was built differently than a lot of others. Like, we didn't always have the highest paid players. In fact, when a lot of guys would have a chance to get free agent contracts, Bill would, trade those guys and let them get paid somewhere else. And then we'd have to replace them with lesser talented players. One position that's unique in the NFL is receiver.
Yeah.
Like Jamar Chase makes $40 million a year. T. Higgins makes 30. Tyreek Hill was making almost 30. We didn't have those players. So we had to find production from other areas, and slot receivers in the NFL don't get paid top dollar for receiver. So in a way, we paired this team kind of receiver group with some rookies and some, I would say, more role type players at receiver, because we had these inside players, I'll call them, that played tighter to the formation that could still be very productive because they had great route trees and they were maybe not vertical speed as fast as vertical speed, but they had short area quickness. And that short area quickness is what the game's all about. I would argue, would you rather be fast or have great short area quickness? I'd rather have short area quickness.
Yeah.
Football is a game of quickness, not speed.
Timing. We can be on the same time and get shit done more with that short area quick.
And big, and I think one of the things also is it requires a quarterback who understands slot receivers really well and understands hey, look, I got to be accurate to put on you, because while that short area quickness matters, the windows are so much smaller inside, which I think is why some quarterbacks try not to spam overuse their slot receivers. But I'm a big believer in it. I think young quarterbacks, the number one thing you can do is use that slot receiver, and then as you grow as a quarterback, using your slot receiver to not only hit singles but to hit doubles and triples, that's what turned you into the elite tier, and that also lengthened your career. I mean, a guy like Drew Brees was able to use those slot receivers to hit a lot of doubles and triples, and I think a lot of times people presume, inside receiver, you're good for 6 yards there, 7 yards there. It's okay, yeah, but if the short area quickness is perfect and they get open, and I hit them in the hands at the right point where they don't have to break stride, all of a sudden that 7-yard gain can be a 12, 15, sometimes 25-yard gain. And then if you have, short area quickness receivers that also have some long speed, which tends to happen, which was how Odell Beckham Jr. was able to extend the career of Eli Manning, those start hitting a good amount. So, yeah. Yep.
Quickness and getting that, showing color and getting open over the middle of the field, especially for the tight ends and the inside receivers.
And Trav, you're 6'5", 250, 255, and you have twitchiness.
Yeah.
You had size, length, did have speed, and you did have, they couldn't arm tackle you, and you had twitchiness. Your footwork is more like a slot receiver than is a tight end. Right. So there's a reason why you got open, a lot like Antonio Gates always did.
Yeah, I love listening to that kind of thing. Got 2 Tom Brady clips.
He goes, all right, Tommy, where should we send the tapes to? Because we want to send them out to the college, the head of recruitment at the schools that we want to go to. So we send all these different tapes out, ranging from, let's say, Cal Berkeley to BYU to Army.
Wait, BYU?
BYU, yeah. They didn't want me. I know. Well, they weren't the only one. Trust me. There was many others. He goes, all right, Tommy, where should we send the tapes to? Because we want to send them.
BYU didn't want me, and Tom Brady didn't want to go to Michigan, man. Just kidding. Jokes.
The Brandon Walker College Football Show.
I didn't hear this. I saw this, and then I saw some tweets about it, bookmarked it, thought maybe it was something in here. Thought maybe there was something of note in here. I do like their studio setup, though.
The Brandon Walker College Football Show. I will be going solo. I will be doing a show by myself with Lukey as the producer. I'm just going to say it. I see the success of other guys out there that are doing solo stuff like Pate, like other guys, and I'm like, I kind of just want to take a bite at the apple. I want to fucking try it. I want to give it a shot. I want to go out there, and there's no secret. At some point, I want to move back to Mississippi, and I can't do it if all of my success is tied to the yak and mostly sports. The Brandon Walker College Football Show.
I think everybody at some point, when you are in media for however long, I think at some point you have to have on your resume the solo show. It's the single hardest show to do, but it also is the single most rewarding show. And if you can find out a good flow, and not every solo show has to be the same, but finding a good flow and being really, really comfortable kind of getting in and out of things is the number one feeling in the world. And for me, I was blessed enough. This is my 3rd solo show. Now, this is a little bit of a different formatted solo show, but I'll never forget Drew's Views was my first solo show, and it was 1 hour. It was a 1 hour time slot on talk radio here in Akron, and it was a 22-minute segment and a 19-minute segment, and it was just my voice, and like figuring out how to get segment to segment, like tying things together with a story, tying things together honestly with an analogy, and making sure that like I conveyed my point. I'll never forget my first show was about the fan base inheriting um the personality of the team and kind of what that means. And I'll never forget, like when Baker Mayfield was in Cleveland, it was right around the time where I had my first solo show, and I did one segment on like Baker Mayfield wants people to think that he's a victim, and Cleveland Browns brass wants them to think that they're a victim, and fans want people to think that they're a victim. And when you have this, every relationship ends up being like a toxic relationship between the fan base, the media, and the team. And that was one of my like early moments of like solo radio where I felt like I did a good job, research, crushed it, and was able to kind of flow in and out of things. And any if I could ever give any advice to anybody doing so, I mean, shit, dude, like my guy Trent, who's been helping me out a ton, like reached out a day or two ago about like, yeah, I'm doing a solo show, like any advice. And really, like the only advice is the hardest thing about a solo show is having a strong fire starter, like the opening segment, like being able to kind of light that match and light something on fire and like pick it up and go. I think is really important, because if you feel good about that intro and you feel like that got off to a hot start, it becomes really easy to flow in and out of a show, just generally speaking. Now, obviously, like length matters and how you want to break it apart matters. Generally, most guys don't just go, 45 minutes straight with no breaking things up. You have to read stuff, play videos, do all that. I mean, that stuff matters. But when it comes to like the very best, like my like guys who are the very best at that, Jim Rome, legendary. Colin Coward, absolutely incredible at that. Like just solo shows in totality. And then, I mean, Nick Wright was really good when he filled in, but like in terms of like long term, like elite level stuff, it's those two. I think that honestly, like how I'm gonna remember radio, I think Stephen A. Smith maybe is probably gonna end as a more famous figure than Colin Coward. But when it comes to solo shows, like doing the Colin Coward show, like sitting down and entertaining people on a microphone, I think that there's a wide gap between Colin Coward and Stephen A. Smith. Now, I think interaction wise, like with other people, Stephen A. Smith is like one of the very best. But in terms of like solo show, holding an audience and grasping things, that matters. So I'm excited to see where Brandon Walker is. And it is funny, as a mentor, there's nothing like seeing a mentee thrive, fly high, sweet birdie. I think that, yeah, I mean, whatever. But I get it, dude. I get it. I mean, Tyler and I are. I mean, I'm doing my first like in name show, and it's Chris and Tyler, which is like more of a Mike and Mike. But I have my solo show. Like this is my solo show, and at some point, like I'll do a real sit down show. But I don't know if I would want to do that about sports. I think I want the challenge of like outside sports. But this is my preferred format, and this is my preferred medium.
Does it feel normal to be back here?
Oh, we got BK. BK. It's funny. My guy Dan Dibjack. Reply to me. It's something. Or yeah, and there's just been so much like Brian Kelly stuff like this. I think this is the article that's been quoted up a bunch and a bunch and a bunch. That was horrible. I think this interview keeps getting quoted, and it doesn't always make Brian Kelly look the best. But I'm curious. I'll listen.
Does it feel normal to be back here?
It doesn't feel awkward. I think that's probably the best way to put it. I don't feel awkward. Look, there's going to be detractors anywhere I go. I went to the Chicago White Sox Red Sox game, and 4 people hated me and 5 people love me. So that's just the nature of it. But we feel comfortable. My daughter is a graduate there. Obviously, we did a lot of great things for the university that through our foundation. So we feel that we have a connection with Notre Dame that we want to continue within the parameters that we're allowed, and so we'll be very, very cognizant of that. I'm not going to be running around campus for my workouts, but we're going to be seen when we have the opportunity. I still have my seats there, so maybe I can be a Monday morning quarterback with you guys.
Does it feel normal to be back here?
It doesn't.
So back around a little bit. I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know exactly what I know he's talking about going back to Notre Dame. I think that Brian Kelly, no one will ever want to admit this. No, people will admit this. Fuck, I'll admit it, but maybe I'm not people. When you break up with somebody, naturally, human instinct wise, you don't want that person to be better without you and then do better than you, period. I mean, you don't want either of them. When they both happen at the same time, it makes you reflect and think, okay, was I the problem? Because not only did I leave the situation and the situation around this got better, but the person that I left is now doing better than ever. And the new person they're with is way better than me and they don't remember me at all. I think naturally every coach has an ego. And when you leave a spot, you want the fans to miss you. You want the fans to clamor about you. And the way they clamor about you the most is if things aren't all sunshine and rainbows right after you leave. Things weren't sunshine and rainbows right after Brian Kelly left, but that rainbow and sunshine came after a 30-minute rainstorm, and it was Notre Dame in a national championship after a good playoff run. And I was talking with Zach about this. Things looked and felt different. So if you're Brian Kelly, the way you left, it was arrogant, it was pompous, and you had more success year one at LSU than Marcus Freeman had year one at Notre Dame. But then ever since then, your guys' lives have gone completely separate places, and you're watching Notre Dame get built up to a place where you probably couldn't build it up to. And, I mean, you got to a natty, but now you're trying to circle back and like to all the friends, like, hey, like, I root for you guys. Like, I love you guys. And it's like, no. We remember your press conference before you left Notre Dame. We remember your press conference when you got to LSU. We remember all the shitty stuff that kind of went on optically while you were here. And we're able to remember that because our new coach doesn't have any of that. And our new coach also wins. But now Brian Kelly, it's like coming back almost wants to be loved. He almost wants to be viewed as like how Urban Meyer is viewed at Ohio State. Ohio State fans still absolutely adore Urban, even though things have stayed the same or gotten slightly better with the exception of the Michigan problem. But because Urban Meyer didn't go to another school and kind of sneak this Ohio State, it's always open arms. And when people think about Urban Meyer, they don't think about the negative stuff first because there's enough positive memories to hold on to. With Brian Kelly and the way he left, it created an instant divide that he did not try to fix, squash, or anything up until he got fired from LSU. Point blank, period. So this whole thing about, like, he can love Notre Dame, that's fine. But I hope he doesn't expect Notre Dame fans to kind of circle back and be in his corner.
Leonard Moore, he's an excellent football player.
Okay. Preferred walk-on. Is this the guy from that used to be PFF, or am I tweaking? Yeah, Max Chadwick, I think. Yeah, he got let go at PFF. Leonard Moore is the best cornerback in college football, and it's really not close.
Leonard Moore, he's an excellent football player, man. He's the best corner in college football by a mile. I've said this before, too, where there's not a bigger gap in college football than Leonard Moore and the next corner, whoever you have. We have Dijon Lee as our number 2 corner. You could argue Brandon Finney Jr. too, which is why they were both very close to each other. But you saw on the list, they were, in the 30s in our rankings? Like, it is a far fall from Leonard Moore to the next cornerback. Yeah, Dijon Lee is the number 2 corner in the country for us. He's number 38 overall on this list. Leonard Moore is by far the best cornerback in college football. I think he's going to go down as one of the best cornerbacks we've ever seen in college football. Leonard Moore.
It's always like, okay, if my co-host isn't reacting to this take because this take is a little bit too cool, let me just go a step further. One of the best cornerbacks we've ever seen. Okay, could be. We'll see. Who knows? Dude, I don't really have that much Michigan I want to even hit. In fact, this will probably be a shorter episode in totality. But this dude, Robert Littell, hilarious. Like one of the funniest writers, been covering this thing start to finish. How a Michigan AD, Ward Manuel, told Sharon Moore to stop playing in the snow. And how Moore's mistress was using Jim Harbaugh to find post-abortion doctors without his knowledge. Brother Sharon's wife still standing strong. He's so funny, dude. All right, quick.
I don't think anybody can say anything until they've actually seen the report. Then you have to ask yourself, how transparent is the report? Where did they go with it? How far do they go with it? Does this go over everything that has happened at Michigan since Ward took over, or does it just go over the cheating scandal and Matt Weiss? How many of these things are on there? Does it cover the gun incident with the player that wasn't disciplined and was allowed to play the next day and
Mozzie Smith.
Get on the plane to Indiana? Does this include the basketball player who was pulled over driving a car that was registered to Ward Manuel's wife? I mean, there's lots of things that happened that all under his wife.
It was registered to his wife? I guess I don't really know all the details of that story.
Watch, are they all included or is it just a couple? So is this something that's going to rear its ugly head continually? Because did they get it all? I don't think any.
Did they get it all? What about Shimmy Schembechler, pro-slavery? Oh, dude, Dan Doc has been hey, this is another one of those guys that, like, solo show, excellent, and does a fucking great job.
What a shit show. And yeah, I'm laughing at the whole thing. Yeah, absolutely I am. Because it's what Michigan does. This all goes back, say whatever you want, to Jim Harbaugh, excuse me. Jim Harbaugh hired the guy. Hell, Jim Harbaugh was kept by Ward Manuel, and he knew Harbaugh had to know. If he didn't know, he should be fired, was a scumbag. No, Ward Manuel should be fired now. Now, I know there's procedures, and those procedures will take place on Thursday. But damn, he acknowledged his job status to be in question, but he's going to fight for it. Here's what Ward Manuel said. I don't need the credit for Michigan's success, but I'm not going to stand idly by and let people say all this happened despite Ward Manuel. I love this place. My blood, sweat, tears. What blood, really? I hear these guys say that. My blood. You see how fat he is? He's always been fat. You know how many free meals that fat ass has gotten being the Michigan athletic director? I hear all you guys say, my blood. What blood, really? What did you bleed? When did you cry? I'll give you maybe you did. Okay. Sweat, sure. I mean, you're 397 pounds. Walking upstairs make you sweat. Tying your shoes will make you sweat. But what are you talking about? My blood, sweat, and tears are somewhere in Michigan Stadium on the fields of play and in Schembechler Hall and on the track. Really? Did your fat ass run? Really? Hey, donors, we need money. Hey, Black Caucus, I need protected. Hey, Coach, how's it going? Hey, Coach, quit screwing the white girl.
You want to talk about teach tape, footwork, and then also crossing over enough edginess? Dan Dockich, yeah. Dan Dockich, yeah, dude. Yeah, Dan. That is elite radio work, and he's got the old school. I love it, man. I will never, like, I never itch to do, like, the long form, like, desk sit down, like, with the wide frame like that. But I do love the way that that he structures this. I love it. I love it. Oh, yeah. $12 million investigation found that players and staff reported to athletic department officials about Sharon Moore and Paige Shivers' conduct. Michigan board still does not plan to discuss the future of athletics personnel during Thursday's meeting, a source tells Front Office Sports. He's skinny here, though. He looks good, man. And it's fucked up because now every time someone gets skinny, like, the natural thing is like, oh, Ozempic, right? Like, oh, like, Ozempic. But no, he could have been working hard. Maybe he lost some sleep and some meals over the Sharon Moore thing. Dude, I think you're coaching for your job every year, no matter where you're at. So this quote kind of surprised me a little bit. Florida State Mike Norvell said he doesn't believe he's coaching for his job in 2026. I don't fear failure. I never have. I do fear regret. Unique thing. It sounds a lot like another coach in the state of Florida a year ago. But no, I can't tell if Norvell was a good coach or if this kid was just, and Mike Norvell still has a job because of it. Point blank, period. I actually don't want to get copyright whatever for this.
Could not be here tonight. He sends his gratitude and appreciation to ESPN and everyone who voted for him.
Shohei's a guy.
Shohei's a guy. I love Mike Tyson, completely oblivious to what's going on in the world, but shout out Tyson. Oh, this was great.
If Dad goes off, I'm gonna crash out. What do you mean? Because I benched him.
I hope he goes off.
Shout out Joe Flacco's son, man, benching him in fantasy football. I hope if Dad goes off, I'm gonna crash out. Also, dude.
Whoa, what's going on?
It's so funny. I don't know what this league is, but I don't have any problem with this at all. I think it's funny watching people get so mad about this, but I think this is is this a gay baseball league?
Whoa, what's going on? Oh no. What the heck? Hey.
Dog, this is going so viral. The Portland Pickles. Oh, jeez, I can't even scroll down. Dog, I don't know. It's funny because, like, it was the Savannah Bananas, but it's like, yeah, they're Do they play the Savannah Bananas? The Pickles? Yeah, dude, they know what they're doing, bro. 12,198 inches of meat eaten by Pickles fans on Wiener Night. Now, somebody enlighten me. Do they all play in like the same kind of league? Like there's like a couple innings of like showman stuff, and then the other inning stuff is like whatever else. Like, cause this is like Savannah Banana-y, right? Except for they just made out on the mountain. 12 million views, dog. Most viral sports moment. The Pickles. People were mad, dude. I can't even scroll down on the comments because they're so like extreme, bro. And I don't want certain words to pop up on screen. Anyway, like and sub. I'll holler at you. Oh, I am working to get with Michigan Metal. I was supposed to last night. Had a little bit too much going on last night, so I wasn't able to link up with them. But yeah, like and sub. Okay, I don't want this. Never mind. It's fine. Like and sub. I'll talk to you guys soon.